Welcome to the teachings of Michael. I am Robert Theiss. It has been my joy to serve these universal teachings since 1998. I hope they will inspire you, as they have for me, to reclaim a new, sovereign relationship with Spirit. Thank you for listening. And a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining me for another live episode of Conversations with Michael. And as we do each month, we are streaming live from our home studio just outside Portland, Oregon. If you are new to Ancient Wings and the teachings of Michael, we invite you to check out our website. Since 1995, we have been serving a human soul relationship by encouraging people through a variety of services to live your life consciously. We offer a variety of heart-based programs and services for those who are ready to embody their own divine presence into their day-to-day reality. Really not the most popular choice on the planet, so we are truly honored to serve those of you who have the courage, the integrity, and the compassion to be who you truly are and to let go of what you are not. Let's take a deep breath there as we all allow ourselves to be here together in this new format. It's such an honor for me to be of service to so many who have chosen to make this lifetime the lifetime that they set free a very old story. You know, this show, Conversations with Michael, used to be called the Ancient Wings Show. It started over 10 years ago as a live radio program, and our last audio broadcast was actually on the Awakening Zone network, which was sponsored by the Crimson Circle. And since then, we've shifted all of our live and pre-recorded sessions to the video format, as so many others have done. It's just so much more engaging, more personal in a lot of ways. You can adjust the quality of today's stream just by, and the amount of data that you're using if you're on a data plan, just by clicking on the gear icon at the bottom of the screen. Choose the resolution that works best for you. The highest resolution is an HD quality 720p. If you're concerned about your data, then go ahead and go all the way down. I think you can go all the way down to 140p, which is pretty close to an audio quality stream. Now, we've been testing over the last few months a number of new streaming formats. And today, we're very excited to be streaming exclusively through YouTube Live using the Ecamm Live software. We'll continue to use the Zoom software for most of our classes, and that's what most of you who have been participating in our teachings have become really familiar with. As we get deeper in today's show, you might notice some of the benefits to the changes we've made, including the introduction we just did. The good folks at Ecamm have promised us that they will be adding a seamless Q&A feature to their software, which should be available not for the next Conversations with Michael, but the one that's happening in, well, looks like in May. In the meantime, feel free to email us your questions prior to the show. And if you'd like to chat with other attendees, then you can go down below the player there. If you're watching this on the Conversations with Michael page, there's an option there to click on the YouTube page, and that will take you to the YouTube page, and you'll be able to watch the stream there. And on the right-hand side, there is a chat format, which in an incredible way, YouTube has just updated that. The chat continues for a half hour after the show ends if you want to share whatever it is that you'd like to share with each other. So today's show is all Conversations with Michael's shows are posted on the Conversations with Michael page for the next 30 days, and then they were brought over to the Sacred Space program, which is our video library that we have for almost all of our videos. So let's take a quick peek at what's on the horizon before I turn this over to Michael. Let's look at some upcoming events. And speaking of a sacred space, Sacred Space is a video library that offers a variety of special benefits for monthly subscribers. And in that program, there is a new feature called Live Sessions with Michael. On Friday, March the 16th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., we'll be offering this free quarterly soul gathering to monthly subscribers of the Sacred Space program. In that format, you can join us online as our guest, share your story, and support each other in a safe and in a loving environment. So if you're interested in this, some of you who attended our Masters Gathering, which went on for about a year, and then we turned it over to some friends that we made over at the Masters Hub on the Facebook site, who are now offering that same format in their own unique way to anyone that wants to participate in that. But this is for really just those of you who really have made a deep commitment to working with the teachings of Michael, or working with other teachings, in particular the teachings that come through the Crimson Circle, which we are proud supporters of. So following that, we've got another in-studio class titled Shining Your Radiance. It begins on Friday, March the 30th. It's an all-day class from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There's an early bird special if you sign up early now. Each class offers unlimited access to the video recording for 90 days, and with all of our programs, the class size is limited so that we can maintain an intimate and more personal relationship with those that we are working with. Go ahead and visit our website and go to the in-studio class or live event tab at the top of the page, and you can click on in-studio class, and there you'll get all the information you'll need about that. We have a upcoming Conversations with Michael, which is actually happening next month, Friday on April the 6th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. I'm looking forward to having as my special guest Jim Self. Jim will be talking about his new book and sharing his own unique insights about our changing reality. For this class, pre-registration happens through our Zoom software. Unfortunately, for a lot of you that wanted to participate in that format, it's already sold out, but you're free to watch the live stream just as you're doing now on the Conversations with Michael page on our website, as we simulcast the Conversations with Michael, and we have special guests through Zoom and through YouTube Live. And of course, we have coming up here beginning on April the 13th and ending September 28th, a 6-month journey called I Spirit One. These entail bi-weekly live sessions with Michael. Each yearly course is custom designed to meet the needs of those attending. No two sessions are ever the same. They include live bi-weekly sessions with Michael, a Q&A session, up to 3 private sessions, access to the iSpirit Facebook page, and unlimited access to each session in our iSpirit video library. Once again, class size is limited for new attendees with no limit to graduates of this course. And of course, once again, this allows Michael and myself to work with each of you in a very intimate and personal way. We've just added a new in-studio class starting on April the 20th. It's a Friday as well. It's from 11 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is a special live class titled Abundance Unplugged Part 1. For the embodied master, lacking support of any kind no longer serves you. Our human self is conditioned to rely on a mental-based support system. It's time now to really allow all of life to support you, all of consciousness to support you. We're sharing this class now because abundance doesn't really have a role to play anymore within an integrated human soul relationship. So there are two parts to this class. We offer in part 1, the first hour, a live session with Michael. The second part is followed by those who attend the class, where they can come online as a guest, share your story, and help support the other live participants who will be participating on that day. 90 days after this course, this same group will have the same opportunity to come back and to share all the changes that they have experienced over the last 90 days. We've priced this class at a price point, $49, to make it available to just about anyone that's struggling with abundance issues. And finally, a lot of you enjoy having private sessions with Michael, and it continues to be our passion and joy to be of service to any awakened human being. These private sessions now are not really designed for those who are in the thick of their awakening process. It's for those of you have truly awakened and now ready to experience a conscious relationship with your own divine self. Very good. Not too bad. First time I played with that, and not too bad. It's interesting working with this new format. I got so excited practicing with it yesterday that I think I blew a fuse in one of my brain cells here, but we seem to be doing okay. And finally, I want to say it was an honor for us to have as our guest last month, Jeff Hoppe and Adamus St. Germain. As we said earlier, we are proud supporters of the Crimson Circle and feel deeply connected to this group of fellow masters. There's really no other group on the planet that we have found that we can resonate with. But it's almost as if we've discovered a new family in working with and being with the Crimson Circle. We enjoy their monthly shouts and occasionally participate in some of their own workshops. Well, not workshops, but things like Pronost. And we find it to be very uplifting to feel the presence of a small but very potent global group of fellow masters who are doing this together, both sharing the challenges, sharing the difficulties, and sharing the joy when we allow it. So I want to thank Jeffrey for his service and his wife and partner, Linda, for the service they provide not only to all of you, but to Coca and I. And speaking of Coca, she is here again, as she always is today, in the background, but she is 20 feet away from me, in service to what comes through here. Those of you who know, I've been working with originally Archangel Michael and Yeshua for many years, and since 1995, that was my primary service, to act as a conscious channel for Archangel Michael and Yeshua. And then about 10 years ago, I noticed a shift began to happen. I started to move out of wanting to channel and wanting to simply integrate the presence of my own divine presence, which is Michael. So Michael, as all of you might feel, is quite a handful. Got a lot of energy, a lot of fire, a tremendous amount of radiance. It's of great service to me that Coca has agreed to allow His presence to also work through her, so that I can also, my human part, can work with the mechanics here of doing these live presentations. So let's take another deep breath. This is the part where I enjoy shifting my relationship with you, where my human self has been more at the forefront, and now Robert simply steps aside and allows Michael to be present and to be of service to all of you. Indeed, he does. And indeed, I am Michael. For those of you who are watching this or are new to our teachings, it is this simple. It truly is. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be something that you are struggling with. It only feels strange and a little awkward at first, and there's certainly a lot of questions that a lot of you might have in relationship to whether this is really real. And so my question to Robert's mind has always been, well, what makes you so real? And occasionally I've had to ask his mind, if you are so all-knowing, dear mind, then what were you doing prior to being here on earth? And of course, like all of you listening, when you've asked your mind the same question, it hasn't a clue, because it didn't exist prior to this incarnation. It's an awkward relationship, having this human soul relationship, when your own mind is the one that must allow this presence, who you will be when you leave this planet, and who you have the right to also be when you're on this planet. But of course, that's the deal, is it not? As each of you have struggled with trying to reclaim this, asking so many questions as to why is it a struggle? Is struggle a part of a spiritual path? It would appear it is, when so many of you have forgotten what it feels like to be in the presence of your own I am presence, your own divine self, your own soul nature. And so we rely on a number of individuals who agreed to allow us to blend and merge with their own human self, so that we may share a message, a teaching, so that we may simply remind you of who you also are. Your heart already knows this, dear ones. This is not the part that we have to convince. Your heart really, when it listens to our words, there's really not a whole lot there that it didn't already know. For the mind, this is truly new. Truly new. And we'll talk about that by talking a little bit about last month, where we talked about living an orgasmic life. And some would call this being central. So be it. So many of you have literally gone to the depth of your own resistance in order to feel being alive. This choice, dear ones, to live an orgasmic life, is not for the faint of heart, because it does require tremendous integrity. We understand you're bombarded each and every day with so many distractions. And it's natural to lose sight of why you are here. And so again, our role is simply to remind you to take a deep breath and to choose to live your life consciously in relationship with your soul. That is the embodied master. That is the state of enlightenment, the allowance of who you also are to coexist with your own humanity. We understand so many of you got stuck and caught in this whole agenda of trying to improve your own human version of yourself, to create a better life from your human perspective. And so our teaching is based on, can you really take your humanity off the hot seat and just accept it for what it is? It's conditioned to be what it is. Can you allow it to just be that? And also allow who you also are as an unconditional free spirit. It seems impossible, does it not? These complete opposites to coexist. It sounds so simple when we talk about it, and it really is when you stop letting other thoughts and other emotions to choose for you. Your dilemma is the mind always wants to know, how do I do this? And our answer in a nutshell to the mind is that you don't do anything. We are not asking you, dear mind, to be responsible for allowing this to become real. Yes, you do have to allow the presence to come in, but you are not responsible for creating a state of enlightenment. You allow the part of who you also are that's already enlightened to coexist with you, not to take over, not to kick you out, not to belittle you, to undermine you, simply to coexist in the most beautiful and sacred of relationships. You, dear human, when you allow the presence of your divine nature to coexist with you, you allow your heart the freedom to feel, express, and to guide your life. Your mind has been so busy acting as your protector for most of your life. Based on your past, it doesn't believe that this is a safe space or place for any of you to expose this very tender, vulnerable heart. And based on your past, your mind is right. We would agree with your mind. Based on your past, this is not a safe space for your heart to be so vulnerable, to be so open, to allow the presence of your own divine nature to be here. And so we have been encouraging all of you, especially in our I Spirit program, to make another bold choice. You could say that we present some of these new choices first to those brave attendees in the I Spirit program before we share it with others. It gives us an opportunity, allows us to see to what degree you're willing to accept and allow these insights to be a part of your day-to-day reality. When we see success in the integration of what's being presented in I Spirit, then we gladly share it with others. For now we have tangible evidence that it's possible, because others have allowed it to be a part of their day-to-day reality. Today's presentation, today's session, is titled Transcending Time. And so we are inviting you to really feel into your future. We're inviting you to stop letting time and space determine for you what you want to experience. Because, dear ones, time and space are here to serve the conscious creator, not the other way around. Time and space is like a cousin to your mind. And we know your mind likes to perceive this whole process in linear terms. And that's where a lot of you get stuck, is relying on the mind's perception to define for you how you're doing, how you're feeling. When we say it can take about a decade to truly, fully integrate your soul, your mind likes counting the days. You notice this? Your mind really does like counting the days. It likes to reflect on all of your own accomplishments because it's the one that set the goals for you to feel accomplished. And so we're asking you, how would it feel if you could actually experience right now what you end up becoming in your future? How would it feel if you could actually experience in this fresh, new, now moment what you're all going to end up becoming in your future, gracefully or kicking and screaming? Now, we are talking to those who have chosen to experience a tangible relationship with the presence of your soul. This is not an invitation that is for everyone. And if you are scratching your head and wondering, what the heck is this person and this being called Michael talking about, then more than likely this is not for you. It is for those who have already made a conscious choice to live their life as an embodied master. They've already gone through the whole awakening stages, the whole awakening process. And now they want to experience what they have felt and what they can feel right now, living alongside them, living inside of them, inside their mind, inside their body, inside their emotions. To the embodied masters, to my fellow masters, let's just be clear here. You were not satisfied with the awareness that you are more than just a human. That was the awakening process. That's what, in a way, ignited the whole awakening process. You were not interested in all the galactic stories that claim to know why you're here, all the conspiracies about why you're stuck here on Earth. And so it was refreshing for so many of you when we presented a very different truth. That because you are here on Earth, you represent the pinnacle of creation. A little different from what you heard from other spiritual organizations. You're not here because you did something wrong in the stars. Earth is not a penal colony. Earth is a blessing that so many beings help to create. So to slow down your own creative process so that you could become a more conscious creator of your own experience. Once again, this is not for the faint of heart, nor is this for everyone. For truly what we are suggesting, indeed, what we are claiming is that you are the creator of your own experience. But that doesn't make any sense if you're stuck in drama. That doesn't make any sense if you're relying on your mind to create your reality for you. It takes a lot of integrity, a lot of courage, and a lot of support to move away from the mind being the main perceiver of your reality, to heal your heart of all the wounds you've been carrying, and to open yourself up to another part of who you also are, that for the most part has not been physically present in your life. And so there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of entertaining theories of why you are stuck. why you feel cut off. A lot of stories that give credence to why it is so difficult for your own humanness to feel more fulfilled. But with this group, you've gone beyond feeling entertained by a variety of different theories, a variety of different stories, a variety of different teachings that are very entertaining, but they don't really serve you in terms of being conscious of what you're creating if you're so distracted by what has happened before this fresh now moment. So we are asking all of you again, how would it feel if you could actually experience in this now moment what you're going to end up becoming anyways, enlightened? Let yourself feel this future version of yourself. Let's take a deep breath there. How far into your future do you need to look? Now, we get some of you are already saying, I don't think I can endure another 30 days feeling disconnected from feeling enlightened, from feeling what? What is it that you're feeling? How far out do you need to look? 6 months? Does that make your mind feel more at ease? You got 6 months to allow, to accept, or is it just another 6 months to procrastinate? What happens when you allow yourself to feel this future version of yourself that's already enlightened? Of course, once again, that term describes having a conscious relationship between your human self and your own soul. It's ongoing in your day-to-day reality. It's intertwined into the choices you're making. You're never feeling alone anymore. You always have at your disposal the presence, the energetic presence of your divine counterpart, coexisting with you in this very sacred partnership, relationship. Does it seem to you inconceivable that this would become real in 1 year? So let's extend it out to 2 years. What part of you feels more comfortable knowing that you've got 2 years? And what part of you isn't sure if you could stay on the planet for 2 more years without having this conscious relationship with your own soul? There are a few of you who are new to our teachings, who are looking at this and saying, I can't even conceive of this being real for at least another 10 years, and trust what you are feeling there, because when you begin the awakening process, it takes about a decade for all this to break down, the conditioning, the reliance on others, a relationship to love that has nothing to do with love. It has everything to do with needing others to support you. What do you feel when you allow yourself to feel this future version of yourself? Are you willing to feel that the version that we see for each of you no longer has any physical discomfort? Why? Because you have really moved so much within the physical body that never was yours to begin with. And that's part of the process. That's part of the experience, uncomfortable as it may seem. And we know that very belief, that statement, contradicts much of your medical advice. And we're not here to tell you what to do or not to do in relationship to your own health and well-being. We're here to talk about a human-soul relationship. And from our perspective, your physical body has accommodated a state of consciousness that feels separate from the soul. And those very cells within your body have accommodated a state of consciousness that feels separate from your soul. And so indeed, when you start allowing more and more of the presence of your soul to be with you, what happens? What happens? A lot of the souls that have been so loyal to you, feeling separate from that very presence, no longer are serving you. Their service no longer is needed. They're set free. You might call it detoxing, but they're set free. Some of you have come to realize that when you incarnate into this physical experience, you don't incarnate into, in this lifetime or any other lifetime, a brand new, fresh vehicle. You aren't offered a brand new car that you call your body. You incarnate into a used car, a body that has its own history, its own lineage to your parents and their parents, all the way down to the lineage of that family history that you've been so devoted to, felt so connected to. And so it's awkward, it's uncomfortable to set free, so much that for countless lifetimes you have been dependent on that quality of support because you felt cut off from another type of support, a support that doesn't rely on the mind defining for you who you are, a support that's based in consciousness. This future physical version of who you end up becoming anyways, your dream life has radically shifted. Radically shifted. Imagine dreaming fulfilling dreams. We understand. So many of you wake up scratching your head or sometimes wondering if you're going crazy because your dreams really take on a very different relationship when you are no longer identifying with your mind as a singular being. If you're going to have and choose to have a conscious relationship with your soul, you have to get used to the soul not being singular. Its identity cannot be defined by just one aspect of itself, one counterpart of itself. Your soul is multifaceted, multidimensional, and your dreams end up blending with that presence. You end up seeing yourself in a variety of other realities that to your human mind, when it's trying to figure out the dream and apply it to your linear human life, it just doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't. Allowing a human soul relationship to become real also means that you're allowing the multifaceted nature of who you are. You get comfortable with it, not overnight. You do get comfortable with it. You get so comfortable with it that you're able to sleep at night. That would be new, because that too is the byproduct of choosing to be in a conscious relationship with your soul. Your sleep patterns change dramatically. For most of you, your only connection to anything non-physical has been lifetime after lifetime in your sleep, in your dreams. So many of you couldn't wait to get to bed, to get off of this planet. Because the planet itself, if the dominant energy, the dominant consciousness has always been to feel stuck, isolated, trapped, then where's the joy of being here? Where's the joy of being here? If the dominant consciousness on this planet, in terms of supporting itself, has relied on consuming and extracting energies, both from the planet itself and from each other, psychically, where your interaction with each other, that you, unconscious of why you are doing that, or unconscious of how it feels to others, your support when you're feeling stuck here on this planet has been so based on connecting with each other. Oh, you've heard the saying in so many ways, it's all about family. Well, indeed. But when was the last time you had a sovereign relationship with your family? We're talking to a group of very courageous individuals who feel connected to each other but don't need each other, don't rely on each other in the same way that they relied on their friends as they were growing up, relied on their parents for support. When you tune into this future version of who you will end up becoming anyways, all of your abundance issues go out the window. They don't exist anymore because you don't experience lack of anything when you have shifted your support base over to consciousness. Consciousness. Your own I am presence, your own eternal self, your own divine presence, your own soul nature is supported by consciousness. For it is consciousness also. This is why we asked Robert to present the Abundance Unplugged, which is really all about disconnecting yourself from abundance being an issue, being a concern. Robert just mentioned that we were slightly disconnected from Ecamm right there, but we have connected back again, and we hope all of you are able to reconnect and simply refresh your screen that you're watching, and you'll be able to catch us as we go on here. No matter the timeline, to your mind, it doesn't exist in the past, in this moment. So it couldn't be real. It feels really good, doesn't it, when you let yourself imagine how good it would feel if you had this relationship with this future version of yourself present here. But no matter the timeline, to your mind, this future self doesn't exist because it has no past reference of it being there. To your mind, in linear terms, you need to live through time and space before it does become real. A conscious creator doesn't serve time and space. Time and space serve the creator. We've said this before many times, and now it's become abundantly clear. So let's just pretend that who you will naturally become anyways, because you're already allowing those potentials right now to become real, is standing right next to you. Standing right next to you. It's free of all the discomfort, all the doubts, worries, and concerns. It simply enjoys living. If you could hear its wisdom, what would it say? Can you give it a voice and not call it channeling? Dear ones, your freedom relies outside the confines of your mind. What you have been trying to become, all the effort you have earnestly put into this whole embodied enlightenment, is complete folly. You, the enlightened human, already exist. You, the enlightened human, already exist. Time and space, or should we just say your mind, believes that life is in service to it. And our question to all of you would be quite simply, how is that going? How is that going? Your mind would accept this if this version of yourself that is already enlightened also existed in your past. So how do we work with this? Take a deep breath there, dear ones, and ask these technologies to work with our energy and our presence. You own what you will become in this moment. You own what you will become in this now moment. Why wait for it to become real when your future self is standing right next to you in this fresh, new, now moment? The mind can relax because this fresh, new, now moment, right now, tomorrow, will represent your past. And it will give it a tangible experience that what you are allowing right now is real. And that's its biggest resistance, its biggest concern, is that what you're hoping for is but a fairy tale. Now, if you're willing to play with this, it's going to trigger, as we've talked about here of late before, some really uncomfortable feelings, an awareness that you're actually just pretending to be stuck. And we don't say that as a judgment. You're stuck looking in the rearview mirror. We've been talking about this of late, and of course, our solution, it's very simple. Pretend not to be stuck by allowing what you end up becoming anyways to be in your life right now. A playful and indeed a profound choice. And only a conscious creator would be so bold to command time and space to serve it. So how do we put that into a tangible relationship here that allows your mind to feel this is something it can embrace? It's something it can believe in. You begin to speak, give voice to the wisdom that already exists in your heart. That becomes your primary truth. It doesn't happen initially 100% of the time, but it's an opportunity to claim what you end up becoming anyways as being real right now. If you want to call it channeling, so be it. Our approach with Robert is, let's move beyond that label channeling and just call it your voice. From our perspective, every human being on this planet is channeling. They just are unconscious of who they're channeling for. Most of them are channeling for what society expects of them. Most of them are channeling for what mom and dad expects of them. Most of them are channeling for all the expectations they inherited from this human experience. Most of them are channeling for their mind. And so when you begin to give voice to the future version that has allowed the presence of your soul to be present, it sounds initially otherworldly, a little bit airy-fairy, a little bit too good to be true kind of voice, kind of feeling. So to make this real, where this future version that's standing right next to you, real, ends up becoming real, what happens? You become very discerning about the thoughts that you hear in your head, and you decide if they represent your truth. You become the observer of your own internal dialogue. You become the observer and not the reactor of your own emotions. Emotions being the byproduct of what your mind believes. Very different from how your heart feels in relationship with consciousness. And so you consciously choose not to respond to the emotions that naturally get triggered and let them take a back seat in your life. You don't push against them. You don't force them. You don't judge them. You allow them to coexist with you in the back seat. In the back seat. And then something profound happens. You've made room, you've made space in your life for who you also are. How it perceives reality, how it feels about reality, this part of you, this future version that you become anyways. But why wait? Allow it to be present here now. And observe all that is not that, but is in relationship with your divine self. This is a bold choice. And again, this is not for everyone. Let's take a deep breath there, dear ones. And let's shift gears to your questions and answers. Very good. Our first question here today, I agree with everything you offer, but I'm finding it very difficult to put myself first as a parent. Any advice would be helpful. That's an awkward relationship because, yes, as a parent, as a mother or father, you are indeed responsible for the health and well-being of your child. And you agree to do that for how many ever years you agree to do that, 15, 16, 17, 18 years. It's when it goes beyond that, that it's really not just being of service as a sovereign parent. It's getting entangled, feeling responsible for how they feel. And of course, then your children feel that. They feel you in a way energetically interfering with their own ability to make clear, conscious choices for themselves. So for a parent, it's really important that you do make time for yourself away from the role you're playing as a parent, so you don't get lost in all the conditioning you inherited, what it means to be a good parent. We see so many parents that always want their children to feel that the home that the parent created and paid for is also your children's home. But that sends a lot of mixed messages to your children where they feel that the reason you're saying that or inviting them to always feel that you're always welcome to be in your home also is that you don't trust them to create their own space. You haven't really set them free. In a way, you use the relationship you have with them to maintain the relationship you have to being a parent because you yourself are frightened of your own freedom. You don't really see too many sovereign parents on the planet, and those that you do see would be labeled as being selfish. But it's appropriate in this new relationship to view these children as souls also. Now, we know parents feel really guilty when you're putting yourself first, and so much energy goes into supporting your children. But if that's still an underlying energy, that guilt, you need to take care of that for yourself, because down the road, your children will not respect you in the same way if you haven't transcended these emotions of guilt and allowed you to love yourself first. That is the greatest gift you can offer to them. Become the living example of what you'd want to be for them, the best for them, that they feel confident just being themselves. So, as you all get older, and as your children grow older, this will make more sense to you. You'll be able to look at your teenagers, you'll be able to look at your young adults that you helped support, but you also must set them free for them to feel confident in supporting themselves. If there's been a lot of energy that's gone beyond the basic survival need of support and you're still corded into your children, it gets really confusing. Really, really confusing. So a lot of our classes, and in the Sacred Life Part 1 class, which is a required class to take before you participate in the iSpirit program, that deals with those kind of third chakra issues, the need to stay connected to other human beings because your mind feels very, very insecure. Our next question, I just want to move to a very remote area and leave all this insanity behind. Robert has shared that he spent much of his early years living deep in the forest, and he comments, well, it was appropriate for him to be in that space so that he could develop a deeper relationship to me. He didn't know it was me then, but now he does. But we don't see that as really being appropriate any longer, that you remove yourself in that way long term. We encourage all of you to take a break from living alongside this conditioned human family that is stuck in a place of fear. You are a blessing, even though you might never be acknowledged as being a blessing while you're here. You offer the radiance of consciousness, which is the primary support of all of life, to be present here on earth. It's not all fun and games. It's not all bliss and ecstasy. It can be trying and difficult to share that relationship, to share that presence with the rest of humanity. You need to take care of yourself first by making sure you're getting the body care that your body needs, getting all the massage work that your body enjoys, by nurturing yourself in a variety of ways, by loving yourself in a variety of ways. And it is very appropriate to remove yourself from your human family. Take a break, take a vacation, whatever it is, but to truly immerse yourself surrounded primarily by nature, so that you have then the patience, the courage, and the compassion to continue on by staying here in service to consciousness. Indeed. Our next question, this one is stating, I participated in the Sacred Life Part 1 class. That class pushed a lot of buttons for me. I've become uncomfortably conscious of so many relationships I have that are dependent on a sympathetic response to our choices. All these years I believed I was coming from a place of compassion. It has left me feeling exhausted. Your insights would be appreciated. Indeed, you'll find that sympathetic response to others that is the cording in, the extracting, the feeding frenzy that is going on from one human being to another. It comes from this feeling that life isn't supporting you here on earth. And the only way that you're going to feel closer to life is if you feel more deeply connected to each other, even if it means that you are relying on each other's energies to support yourself. And we say that literally. So there is a period there when you detach yourself from the sympathetic response to a more compassionate place where you allow everybody to be in the experience that they are having. Whether you see that as right or wrong, they have as much right as you have to be in whatever experience they want to have with life. Let them be. So this will change as you begin to disconnect yourself consciously from a lot of connections there, mainly with family members and biological family members and extended family that really primarily is connected from a place of what they would call love, but it's more of a survival tool, using sympathy, empathy as a way to feel more safe while here on earth. Indeed. Another question, we have a lot of references to those that are participating in our classes here today. I just completed the last iSpirit 2 course. I very much enjoy the experience, and right now I can't even explain how good it feels to feel fulfilled. You mentioned that the majority of participants are graduates of this course. Why is that? Thank you for sharing. So, most graduates of the iSpirit program sign up not because they feel a need to participate, because they simply enjoy the experience, and they recognize that their radiance serves a vital role, a vital part in support to others who are also in that circle, that group. So it is not because they missed out on something. Some do, and they're welcome to come back. It's not a one-time course that you get it or you're out the window. This is a big deal. It's a really big deal having a conscious relationship with your soul, because very few are willing to go where all of you have said yes to, inside, and then to take responsibility for what's going inside. From the inside out is where you become the master of your own life. And finally, one last question. How much time does it take to go beyond time? Well, that's an interesting question. That's why we talked about today about your future self. You transcend time when you allow what you end up becoming anyways to be real here now. And that took, for us to say that, about 7 seconds. Thank you, dear ones, for joining us. We look forward to our next conversation. And until then, all of our blessings to each and every one of you.